What is happening, Bulls and Bears? It is Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Back with your daily dose of economic news. Here's what we have lined up for you today. Americans' savings rate plunges further. Yes, people are not only going further into debt, they also have less money set aside, less money in savings, and just less money at the end of the month after all of their expenses are paid. Next, rents jump higher. So anyone hoping for relief, people are getting frustrated because their rents are continuing to surge. We're going to take a look at some charts and data on that. Next, when will car prices drop? Well, they did drop some, but it's not very much, so it's not good news if you're waiting for a more affordable vehicle. And people are flipping used car. That is a thing now. People flipping used cars, and we're going to show you a story of someone making a very hefty profit flipping a vehicle. But it's not just one person, it's a lot of people are doing it now, and that's making prices go up even more. Or I should say it's preventing prices from dropping more. We did see a slight drop in car prices. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. But first, let's look at the personal savings rate recent data here. If we look to the right of this chart here, we see the big spike in 2020, 2021. Stimulus checks were sent out. Millions of people didn't have to pay their normal monthly bills. Remember the enhanced unemployment benefits. So we see these big spikes, but if we zoom in here just to the past 1 year, we see ups and downs, but overall a declining trend. And just over the past month, we now have the June numbers, and these just came out at the end of July, and we see that it dropped again from the prior month. So we're now at a point where we were going into the Great Recession, 2007, 2008. But yet most people are believing that the economy is strong because they're told the unemployment rate is low. In the meantime, more people have to work multiple jobs than ever before in history. So think about that. Add these together. We have more people working multiple jobs now, more than at any point in history. But yet with that happening, the savings rate is still plunging. So people have less money and they're working more. They're working more multiple jobs. And this is a recipe for disaster, especially with the prospect of even higher interest rates. Your credit card interest rates are going to go higher. And for those people in debt that can't pay off their cards in full each month, it's going to be a bigger problem, a much bigger problem. And pretty soon, you're going to see a whole lot of people being pushed over the edge financially. Now, I've said here for a long time that I think the second half of 2022, which we're in, is going to be the time frame. We still have a long ways to go, of course, 5 more months until the end of the year, but continue to expect these numbers, this data to get worse, and we're going to continue to keep an eye on it because this is very important, and not too many people are really talking about this or showing you these charts, but these give us the real indicators of where we're headed. A lot of people go out there and they'll tell you the economy's strong because this company A made this amount of profit, or company B made this amount of profit, and their stock went up. Do you really think that is the most important thing? Or is it the fact that people are going further into debt, people have less savings, and people are going to be pushed over the edge financially? We're going to see a bankruptcy surge, in my opinion, before the end of the year, unless a bunch of new rescue programs come out similar to what we saw in 2020. There's no way around this. There's no avoiding it. Please let me know what you think about this down in comments about the savings rate plunging. Next up on the list, rents jump higher. Now, we did see a few cities fall month over month. That was going to be that was actually June to July, but that was just in some overpriced cities. But when you look at it as a whole, when you look at rents, rents are still going higher because more cities are seeing increases compared to cities that are seeing decreases or falling rents. And let's go to the apartment list here, a recent update and a recent chart here. 6.7% year over year numbers. So yes, rents this July, last month, July 2022, are 6.7% higher overall than they were in July of last year. And people are struggling. People are seeing more and more of their monthly funds that they have available go towards housing, and that means less towards food, but we're not seeing big price drops to help ease the pain in many other areas. We see a bit of a pullback in the cost of fuel, but how long is that going to last before the next leg higher in the cost of fuel? Now, I read some of your comments, and some people seem to be kind of scratching their heads. They're saying, hey, if people are running out of money, if the savings rate is plunging, how are people still affording to pay these higher rents? Well, a lot of people, they're not affording it actually. They're going further into debt. So now instead of paying off that credit card in full each month, they know they have to pay their rent. So they're going to prioritize their rent and their housing payment and their utilities before paying off the credit card. All right, but that is a temporary solution. Living off credit cards is a temporary solution. And that's what's going to push a lot of people into bankruptcy. And we talked in just our previous report about how so many people now are working side jobs and doing side hustles in the gig economy. So this is also part of it, right? So people are making more in some cases because they're working more jobs or two jobs or have multiple gig jobs. But yet at the end of the month they have less money because rents are continuing to go higher. That's why you see rents go higher even though the savings rate is plunging. People are working more. And I just don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy at all. I'm not someone that volunteers to work overtime. I like to have a lot of free time, and I see these people just working all these hours and still just struggling in debt, and it's pretty sad to sit back and watch this, but things are going to get a lot worse before they get better. Next, when will car prices drop? Maybe this is an area where we're going to start seeing some relief. We're going to take a look at a chart here. Then we're going to talk about people flipping cars, which is crazy that we're even talking about it because home flipping has been a thing for a long time. But car flipping, that sounds ridiculous, but it's actually happening. Now let's go over here to the Manheim Used Vehicle Index, and we see that we did see a slight drop from June to July, right to the right side of this chart. And obviously that's not a big of enough drop to really make a noticeable difference for most people that are saving up for a car. It is good that they didn't go up even higher, but when you look over the past couple years, we're still up over 50% on the price of the average used car. And when we look at the price year over year, this is July of this year compared to July of last year, we see that compact cars are up over 18%, luxury cars over 9%, mid-size cars up over 15%, pickups nearly 6%, SUVs up over 11%, vans up over 22%, nearly 23%. Is that more people now living in their vans? Because people just can't afford rent anymore? Well, that could be. It's interesting that vans has the biggest year-over-year price increase versus all these other types of vehicles. Now let's talk about car flipping. Now when you think of car flipping, people often compare it to home flipping. You buy something, you maybe fix it up when it comes to a home, and then you resell it. And the people that are buying it, they appreciate the upgrades and the fact that the seller made hopefully some updates and made it nicer. But a car, not so much. They may clean the car and have it detailed, but not many upgrades can be done to a car. So it's much different than flipping a house, of course. But how crazy is it that people can buy a car, turn around 6-12 months later after putting more miles on the car and sell it for a profit? Well, here's a story out of CBS. Drivers flipping used cars. And there's a story in here about a person who bought a Tesla and ended up making about $20,000 on the flip. He bought it for just under $80, ended up selling it for over $100,000. And of course he's laughing all the way to the bank. He thinks it's pretty cool. And the funny part about it was he sold it to a car dealer, and he came out and he showed the sales contract. What does this mean? Well, bottom line is it means we're in crazy times. We're in crazy times. People flipping cars. Now, when some people hear flipping cars, they also just think about dealers. Well, technically, dealers also flip cars, used car dealers, because what do? They buy cars from people, trading them in, and they turn around and sell them for a profit. So that's what dealers do. They also buy them from auctions in many cases and turn around and sell them for a profit. You can call that flipping. But the fact that the average person now, the average car owner, is able to flip cars for a profit, that's a whole new level of insane in my opinion. Please let me know down in the comments. I hope you guys like this report today. And keep stacking. Be well, people. Bye for now. Peace.